had a lot of work with him over several years, but via his support, communication support, and a caseworker from Cornwall Council. And I think over a period of time, his concerns have got greater. He's become more vulnerable. He's a BSL user, so that immediately brings in the challenges around the fact he can't read, he can't write, he can't set his story straight, and he has a lot of other vulnerabilities as well. And one of the things that was brought to our attention recently was the fact that he'd always had communication support to access NHS services through a BSL interpreter. And then at one stage we just could not find an interpreter who could support him on a particular occasion. They're very busy. And he needed the appointment, so he agreed to go ahead with the appointment as long as he was allowed to take his support dog with him. So I basically contacted the hospital, got an agreement that yes, that would be fine, he can bring his support dog in with him. That was for that one occasion. Turns out he went to that appointment. I don't know what happened. Next time round, we became aware that he had got another appointment to go to the hospital, same department, but they hadn't booked him the interpreter that he would always have. And he was becoming quite concerned. He had this appointment coming up, no interpreter was booked. So I contacted Treliske and I said, I don't understand, he always has an interpreter. Why has he suddenly not had a request come through for an interpreter? And I was told, well, the last time he brought his support dog with him. So I said, well, I'm sorry, but when did his dog learn to sign for him or speak and hear and be able to share the communication? I didn't get a response from that. It just threw up that immediate, like, wow, there are some serious misunderstandings about deaf people if they think the support dog is able to help this profoundly deaf BSL user to understand what is going on. And so that's kind of like the tip of the iceberg of misunderstandings. Now this same gentleman, unfortunately, has always had some support, like a caseworker through the council, and that service has now been withdrawn from him. So going forward, there are even greater challenges for him because he received a letter to say that he would no longer be able to expect the support worker. And on this letter were several references of phone numbers, websites that he could contact. So the point being that this gentleman received a letter that he cannot read. He managed to text us a picture, a photograph of this letter, and on this letter were phone numbers that he can't access and websites that he can't access. And so that just kind of like added to his whole challenge in life. He's a deaf person who cannot access services full stop, who needs a great deal of support. I think more understanding of his needs, where he's coming from, his history, looking at his notes and seeing that he's always been deaf, will always be deaf, nothing's going to improve for him. That would be the biggest move forward, is just have the conversation with the deaf people. This is what's not happening. Nobody's having the conversation directly with deaf people. It's all coming from elsewhere, from the deaf centre or through us, but not from the actual deaf people.